Russians don't ask questions these days. And there are many questions that need to be asked. To me personally, there are two most important questions I must know the answers to. I must know how many Ukrainians were killed and how many Russians were killed in the last 19 months. Amazingly, no one in Russia is asking this. It seems like they don't care. I do, and that is the most important question to me right now. Perhaps when Russian people hear the numbers, the real numbers, they would wake up from their lethargic sleep. At least I'm hoping. The truth always comes out, though. You simply can't hide it. Okay, and the truth about how many people killed, at least on the Russian side, is kind of starts coming up here and there, and the most reliable source has been, amazingly enough, the Russian government. Recently, the Ministry of Labor and Social Development, that's the Russian government agency responsible for social support, social payments, and such, it has ordered 230,000 certificates for family members of deceased combat veterans. 230,000 licenses, papers to be handed out to, I guess, the families. If we take the same amount of Ukrainians killed, let's just suppose we get a number close to 500,000 of people. 500,000 men 2 years ago were alive, healthy. They had lives full of plans. They loved and they were loved. And now they're dead. Howdy, friends. Welcome to Inside Russia. I try to explain life in Russia in this channel. And today I'll talk of mobilization and the one that started 365 days ago and has not stopped. Mobilization was announced on September 21st. But it really didn't start on September 21st of last year. It started one day earlier, because we all knew by the 21st. It all started on September 20th. Rumors started circulating in the morning that Putin was to address the nation, later that day, with something important. And we all knew, we all understood that what was coming, because days before, Russian army, as they called it, regrouped, but basically left Kharkov region, and the situation was pretty darn bad. Something had to be done. So Putin came out. The rumors started circulating that Putin would come out and say something important to all the Russians, something pleasant, So around 4 p.m., it was confirmed in all propaganda channels that Putin was about to address the nation, and we waited until about 10 p.m. Simonyan wrote everyone on her channel, on her Telegram channel, just go to sleep, nothing will happen tonight. And we figured they couldn't come up with a speech fast enough. And on the 21st, the next day, there was a address around 10 a.m., we all remember that. At around 11 a.m. on September 21st, 2022, the exodus started. The crazy times started. I remember well every single day after that. Me and my wife, Natasha, we walked for a couple hours, and we were just discussing our life. we were making plans on what to do next. I waited a knock on the door at any time, and I was happy that I lived for another day, not being mobilized. At the end of every stream, and I streamed, as you remember, at the end of every single stream, I said goodbye to everyone, and as if I would not be coming back the next day, because I was very sincere, because I thought that, there's a chance of them knocking on my door and grabbing me in the middle of the night. There were cases like that all over Russia. And a few days, we lived in a situation like that. And then, of course, there was Rafaela Froms, one of the subscribers from Germany, a sister, Christian. Her email came on September 25th in the morning, and it was kind of kicking the butt for me, and that's when I made the decision. Well, we both made the decision for me to leave. I actually documented my escape, and if you haven't watched it, go ahead and do it. I'll put a link right here, and that's going to be a link down below in the description. The video is called "How I Left Russia," and it's no more and no less but documenting my life as I was leaving Russia. And I was not alone. There were hundreds of thousands around me. Men leaving their country and leaving their family. Men going to the dark, to the unknown. And you know what? It's hard to believe that it's been 365 days already. I remember everything like as it happened yesterday. In the stream, I'd like to tell you, kind of a brief summary of what happened to my country in the last 365 days. 1 week later, on September 27th, will be the first anniversary of me leaving Russia and landing in Uzbekistan. And I will tell you what happened to me personally in this year, but that's going to be a week from now. Today, I'll talk about the country and about the people. I remember the Exodus. I knew right away that I'd leave. And many men, many families, not just men, many families around me also knew that their man would be leaving. The question was when. The stress of those days was insane. Every day felt like it was a small life. You live another day, it's like you lived another life, I remember I was still in Moscow in my apartment, doing, daily things, going to store, taking out trash, and almost every time I would get outside in those 6 days, I could see taxi cab come in to the apartment and picking up someone. Some people I knew, some people I didn't know, but there was a continuous leaving, so to speak. The air around us was so thick we could cut it with knives and spread it on a piece of bread and eat it instead of butter, People started leaving by packs, or not really packs, hordes. I'd say hordes. And wasn't a happy time, It was fairly easy to escape, to leave back then. Just to be fair, it's possible to leave now as well. Russia has not been closed, although there are circumstances that I'm going to tell you later about it. So there were a few ways then, a few loopholes that you could leave Russia, even if you got served the summon, the paperwork. there are a few, well, in this 365 days, they have been a few waves. They were a couple waves then when they made it more difficult for men to leave, and then they eased the requirements, so to speak. So it looks like that pretty much. And right now it's fairly easy, and it seems like it's quiet before the storm. When mobilization happened, no one in the government expected it, and no one in the government was ready. Like the guys on top, Putin and his gang, they knew, they made the decision, but there is a big system inside the Ministry of Defense that is responsible for draft and mobilization, and those people weren't ready. And usually Russian government works like that. When a decision is made unexpectedly, for example, to attack Ukraine, army is not ready. And it takes a few weeks to catch up with that decision. Same with mobilization. No one was ready. People didn't know what to do. They would never think that, that have to execute mass mobilization. So there was chaos for about, I would say, 2 weeks until approximately October 4th, October 5th. And the chaos was everywhere. Politicians, public figures, famous people, TV, Ministry of Defense. They were all saying different things. And there was no unified narrative, okay? And it was very clear. You see, I follow the news. I follow what happens in Russia every single day, constantly. I'm sitting right here, and this is like a control center for me. I know what kind of news come out pretty much every single hour. I have a few feeds, and they constantly get refreshed. And after a while, it starts feeling like you synthesize all this different news coming from different channels, and you start seeing bigger pictures on the fly. You start seeing narratives. You start seeing messages, because if a few messages, you take 35, 40 pro-government Telegram channels that constantly feed you with information, you start noticing the same ideas, the same narratives, the same messages, just they're given to you at different angles, but after a while you start putting them together fairly easy. And I didn't see that in late September, in early October, and I started seeing that in, I believe it was October 5th or something like that, perhaps October 7th. All of a sudden, this chaos stopped. And different agencies, Russian government agencies, propaganda, they started giving the same message. Different format, different news, but they, it was clear that all of a sudden someone gave them a piece of paper with a narrative, and then they started following it. So I figured that this when Russian government started taking care of business, mobilization business, because, they understood that it wasn't going effectively as they wanted. And from what I learned later, there was a task force organized, and there was one person placed in charge, and that was one person, I don't know who exactly, but that's one of the KGB, and all government agencies, they were fragmented before, and they started getting together and working together to make the work of government more effective. And there were rules, there were plans laid out, a roadmap was created, and the first major sign of that was Putin's executive order to create digital mobilization database, okay, to simplify the work of all government agencies. Well, I mentioned that in the streams quite a few times. It was created, that the executive order was signed in late November. I believe it was 29th of November, something like that. So, and basically that was the roadmap. And the Russian government started taking step by step. They started working in two directions. First, they started getting the technical foundation, building the technical foundation, so to speak. They started building unified databases and started linking all the information they had from different agencies into the one digital database, mobilization database. And then simultaneously, they started changing Russia's legal system concerning mobilization. They started taking away Russians' rights. They introduced a few packages, well, one major package of legislation change, and it happened in late April. And, throughout summer, they were amending that package, that new laws that they were introduced in late April, amending them one by one. And basically, they've still doing it. For example, the latest, just today, I heard the news that in the Russian state parliament, they're trying to strip Russian citizens of their citizenship for dodging mobilization. Yeah. Not the ones who were born citizens, who acquired, citizenship at birth, but the naturalized citizens. Oh, if you're a naturalized citizen and you dodge, you don't want to go and get mobilized, then, we'll kick you out. We'll take it back. The thing is, Russian constitution says otherwise. It says that all Russian citizens are equal, and once the citizenship is acquired, received, then no one has the authority to strip it. Well, Russian politicians don't care these days. What has constitution become for them? To them, piece of paper. So anyway, and the latest is they are making it so much more expensive to dodge the draft. So you see, they work from different angles. They're making it illegal. They're making it a felony. They putting so many fines, and they increasing existing fines and so forth. So from fairly easy a year ago to get away and avoid mobilization, they've made it quite difficult. And of course, the mobilization did not stop last year, and it's still going on. Vladimir Putin announced about 4 weeks after the start of the mobilization that the mobilization was over. And then when someone asked them publicly, are you going to sign a decree just like you did 4 weeks ago, announcing mobilization? Will you sign this executive order or decree stopping the mobilization? Said, no, it's not required. Well, it is required. It is required, okay? But it has not been signed. So mobilization is still going on. I have heard of hundreds of cases of people getting mobilized this past 365 days. Every single week, someone comes to Breakfast Club to have breakfast and brings news. Oh, I know this person in Russia who was, packed and taken. So it's still going on. And it seems like right now, everything is ready for another phase, the big one. Because right now, the loopholes are so there are so fewer of them. Last year, there were so many, and you could fairly easy run away. But this year, not so easy. And I'm afraid not only they have laid out foundation for the new mobilization to make it more effective, I think they have laid out the foundation for the new Iron Curtain, no more, no less. The country has changed quite a bit in terms of how easy it's become for the government to mobilize people, and how much more difficult it's become for people to not get mobilized. I will not go into the details. I've said it before. I made streams about that, and I am actually expecting a new wave, an active wave of mobilization very soon. By October 15th, I can be right, I can be wrong. I'm usually more often right than wrong. We will see. I will address this on October 15th, which is, not too long, not too far from now. So I expect the new mobilization to start, the old one to continue, and just to intensify. My life definitely has changed since mobilization was announced last September. I think that I have gained as much experience as I had gained for 46 years before that, before last September. Definitely it's been life-changing experience, but again, of me, I will talk in a week when there's going to be my personal anniversary of leaving Russia and landing in Uzbekistan. The country is unfortunately continuing to wage the war on Ukraine. People in Ukraine keep on dying every day, keep on getting killed, and people in Russia as well. When the mobilization was announced, Russians felt fairly safe on their own turf. Now they don't feel safe anymore. Drone attacks happen every single day, and the very big ones in Crimea, in Rostov region, in Belgorod, in Voronezh, in Kursk, in Moscow. Oh boy, there are so many in Moscow, in Sochi region, you name it. I don't think there's one safe place in the central Russia now. That's definitely different from last year. People, unfortunately, are getting used to this situation. What's going on in Russia is becoming a new normal, and it's very sad. The more the war is going on, the more they get used to it. There's a term for that, at least among us. We call it the normalization of the war. One thing I don't understand, how can this happen? How this, in my country, how people can change so fast and so profoundly, okay? But that's a topic for a different stream. I think there's one of the darkest pages in the history of my country going on right now. And it's it's a tragedy for Ukraine, a peaceful country, and all of a sudden its neighbor, a big neighbor, a good friend, a partner, business partner, simply attacks, backstabs, attacks, and starts killing people. For what? Ukrainians have no clue. They didn't give reason for Russia to do that. And this is the 21st century, for goodness sake. There shouldn't be any wars, And it's definitely a dark page for Russia, because Russia has been destroyed. Not just the mobilization, but everything else. Its economy has been destroyed. Russia's been ostracized, isolated. When the whole thing started last February, and there were a lot of people in the West in the streams. They were saying, "Oh, that's Putin's fault," and I don't think it's Putin's fault solely. I think it's everyone's fault, including my fault. But they were saying, "Oh, look, we don't have anything against Russians, we regular people. We have it against Putin and perhaps the government." Well, and back then I said, "Look, this is how you feel. That's how most feel right now, but that'll change. Perhaps it's going to be changing slowly, but surely." And you know what? I am so right. I turned out to be right because a lot of us left, for many people, for many Russians who left, escaped Russia last fall. Uzbekistan is a transit point. And the transit is short or long. Some people left weeks after arriving to Uzbekistan, and some people waited for months, and some are still waiting. There are quite a few that left for other countries, including European countries, and the changing towards regular Russians, the attitude towards regular Russians is changing. And the reports are coming. Friends who members of Breakfast Club, they are telling the stories, and some of them are pretty horrendous. Perhaps I will tell the story. It happened in Germany to a good friend of mine and his family. Out of the blue, when just passing through Germany, their Schengen visas were nullified by the Germans, and they were arrested, spent time in prison, kicked out to Austria. I mean, there's big mess, And the stories, more and more stories like that appearing. So Russia is not just destroying itself within, not just imploding due to the actions of its government and inactions of its people, but also it's, I think, not destroying, but has already destroyed its image outside, and more and more people don't want to do anything with the Russians, and it's pretty bad, I made the stream yesterday about what it means to be Russian these days, and I explained in details. I do not complain. I understand why the good folks, non-Russian start feeling that way, so no hard feelings here, I understand. But it's sad. To me, it's sad anyway, because, well, shouldn't have happened in the first place. Russia shouldn't have attacked Ukraine. Russia should have been peaceful, and this attitude that Russia shouldn't have never given this chance for others to turn that way. It's our own fault, but it's still sad. And this is a dark page in the history of my country. Incredibly dark page. Perhaps the darkest. We'll see. And I think this is the end. Or actually, this is the beginning of the end. Because I think that Russia cannot exist the way it has been existing. And something's going to change. Big and small, for better, for worse, I don't know. But things will be different, the country will be different, and most likely people will be different. People in Russia have been changing too. One hope I have is Germany, because Germany itself went through a huge transformation, and that kind of leaves me hope that Russia can do the same. I'm just hoping and praying for that. I remember September 21st very well. I remember. I will remember for a long time. September 21st is the date in the history of my country, and September 27th in my own personal history. I call those who left during the mobilization the Titans. Because you know what? It takes guts to make the decision and to execute to actually make it happen. It's hard to describe what you feel once you making decision, and once you made, you know that that's it. There's no way back. I'll talk about it later. But I call all of us who have left the Titans. It's just not too many Titans in Russia, as it turns out. From 2 to 3 million, and there are 140 plus million Russians live in Russia. So, oh well. Remember the Titans. Remember us. You know, ending this stream, I'd like to end in the message. I'd like to ask a question. Not you. I think you know the answer. I want to ask myself, the universe, God, you know, out there. It's a rhetorical question, really. We all know the answer. I even know the answer too. What for? What for? Men in Russia were mobilized, thrown to the front lines, and ordered to kill Ukrainians, as many Ukrainians as they could. 24 months ago, Putin called Ukrainians brothers and sisters, and 19 months ago, he made a decision to attack Ukraine, knowing that people will die. You know, more and more I learn about today and the situation with Ukraine and Russia starting the war, the more it shows me of Russian history at a different angle. And I guess I had a different picture of Russia in my head, a different Russia completely. I was taught many things about my country, the history of my country, and I was a straight A student, you know, I graduated with the highest honor, and I like history. My hobby is to study the history of ancient Rome, and I study Russian history now, and I never did, but that kind of forced me, because I want to dig deep inside to understand why it's going on now. And the answer is not today. The answer lies somewhere in the history. And the more I learn about history, the more the more it shows itself in a different light. It's not what I knew about it before. My country has done that trick many times, calling someone friends and waging wars on that, unfortunately, and it's not as innocent as I thought it was. My country is an empire, has been for a long time, and it stopped calling itself an empire in 1917, and it started calling itself a different name, the USSR, the Union of Soviet Social Republics. And it never ceased to be empire. And I thought and I hoped that the empire ended in 1991, the Red Empire. But I guess it did not end. It just fell asleep. And it's woken up now. I really want Russia to become a republic. I think that's the only right way for people to live in a country, to, you know, build their society in a republic. So the result of 19 months, you know, people dead. 24 months ago, Putin called Ukrainians brothers and sisters. 19 months ago, he made a decision to attack and start killing them. And then as a result, 19 months later, we have almost 500,000 dead. Again, this is not a confirmed number, but I base my understanding on the information, indirect information that comes out of the Russian government itself. Almost 500,000 dead. What for? For an attempt of one old guy to hang on to his power for a few months longer? 500,000 dead. How many kids will be not born? How many kids will grow up without fathers? On both sides, you know. How many wives are widows now? How many parents bury their children? It's not supposed to be that way, you know. And what for? I think that Russians, despite getting normalized by this war, I think despite that, they're getting more and more confused because they've lost this understanding what for. They're fed this propaganda ideas on one hand, on the other hand, they start understanding more and more. And I think there's a great deal of confusion going on right now. I wish I could speak to that man in the photo. I was trying to I was going through different material to make the thumbnail for the live stream. And that photo really stood out. Take a good look at that photo. Take a good look at that guy looking at the camera, looking at you. Take a good look at his eyes, the way he looks. Take a look at his daughter and his wife, okay? I've seen that look before. I witnessed. I saw that look when I saw a neighbor getting mobilized in Moscow. I saw that look, quite a few looks actually, at the airport in Moscow when I was leaving. I saw that look at other places. I wish I could speak to that guy because I would ask him questions. He would answer me and then I would understand more. I could understand these people who actually allowed to get mobilized, allowed people to come and grab them and decide for themselves, for them, their lives, okay? I wish I could talk to him because I really want to understand. I want to understand as much about Russians as I can now. So this is the darkest page in the history of my country, and it's one of the last pages because the new Russia will be born soon. Before, most likely there will be a very hard time, challenging and tragical time in my country. But I guess that's the price you have to pay, you know, and after that, we'll see what comes out of that. We will see what will be born. So it's been 365 days. It's really hard to believe again because it feels like it was yesterday. And that date will stay inside me for a very long time. Let's remember the Titans. Thank you, friends. Wasn't really a message. It was more of my experience I was sharing. Thank you for coming. And that's an honor to have you so I can share it with you. I would love to hear your opinions. What do you think? And I'll try to answer as many questions as I can. I am turning on the questions right now. And boom. Please help me out. Spread this message as much as you can if you liked it. Make reposts in your social media accounts. That actually really helps. Thank you. Dum, dum, dum. I think the live stream chat is on. I keep on saying in every chat that this moment when I turn the live stream chat on, I see lots of people all of a sudden come in. It's like you are standing behind the door and then the door is open and then everyone just boom floods the room. That's the best moment of the stream. Thank you. I feel incredible support at this moment. I feel I'm not alone. I feel this great community, and thank you so much. As usual, if you want me to notice your message or comment, please put it in all caps and put inside Russia after @ so it appears highlighted in orange. Thank you. Just like Bob S. did. And if you're here for the first time, I would like you to know that we have the best mods in the world. Excuse me, Lorna, Mami K, Bob S., Harry Potman, Amir Fazad. Thank you, friends. And howdy, usual suspects. It's a pleasure and honor to have you here. We have Jimmy Penrose from Maine. Please say hello to the wonderful state of Maine for me. One of the places that I love as my second home. Thank you, Mr. Kaliskin from Chicago. I'm glad you finally made it to the stream. Another provoking stream, Eileen. I'm not sure if it's a provoking stream. It's a personal stream. I'm just sharing myself with you. You know, I'm not hiding anything back. I don't know how provoking it is. Great Southern Land, good morning. X-Flying Tiger. What is the thumbnail? You go to the community post and I copied the thumbnail there. It's a picture, a close-up of a family, an old man getting mobilized. That's hello to the ones who are saying, oh, the old, only young people get mobilized. Yeah, right. And he's looking at the camera, incredibly sad, and also he has his wife and daughter hugging him. So go to the community post, check it out. Kevin Baker, it's a war with victims in Ukraine and victims in Russia, senseless. Kevin, thank you so much. Thank you. I understand that Ukrainians are the victims, real victims, and there's no question about that. But Russians are victims too. And you can't take the words out of the song, But Russians have brought it upon themselves, to themselves, because it's their inactivity has led to this, okay? If they were active, they wouldn't have let the government, Putin, anyone to attack Ukraine, Michael Silberg, thank you so much. Putin enacted mobilization while claiming only partial mobilization. The subtle change in wording designed to have his cake and eat it too seems to be common Putin's tactic. Many seem to accept it. It's not just many seem to accept it. You're right. Many seem to not care about that, to not notice it. And that's a distinctive feature of the Russians I'm trying to understand. It's their life, okay? You are mobilized. You need to care. It's your life. You're risking your life. You're risking your soul. You're risking your family. And at the same time, you don't care. How? Thank you so much, Prince Amir. Thank you. Cornwall, UK. Thank you, Lindsay P. Malibu, Margaret Rose. Praying common sense will come back soon. I hope so, and I'm praying so. Are you really in Malibu? Good place. Greetings from Sweden, from Agneta. Thank you so much. Sending love from Uzbekistan to Sweden. And Petra Olson from Sweden as well. Angela McNo. Andrew Hodson from South Africa. I don't have to read that, I already remember. Leitmotif for me. That's how it feels to me. Waiting for the door to open. Thank you. You know, at first I used to start the live stream, and I used to start the live stream chat alone. And as I was trying to deliver a message, there were super chats coming in, and I was afraid to I acknowledge super chats and I thank for them, okay? And I was afraid that I would miss them, and they were kind of chaotic. And this is when I decided that first I turn off the live stream chat, so I do not receive super chats and I do not receive messages that I answer. And I just deliver my message, okay? And after about 30 or so minutes, I turn on the live stream chat. I think I made that decision on March 10th or something like that. There were so many messages, there were so many support coming in that I could barely deliver the message. I was kind of lost, you know. So that's why I structured my streams that way. Harry, thank you so much for your support. I appreciate very much. Looks like you're from the UK. Fantastic. Hey, you know what? Cheers. This wonderful English breakfast tea by the Twinings. Thank you so much for your support. That's good stuff. Lorraine Prasnowski, a longtime supporter. Thank you so much, Lorraine. I appreciate it. Dan Caldwell, howdy. Usual suspect is there. Charlie B from Pacific Beach. Thank you for coming. And Baker Stock. Must be hard time for you, but it's good you can talk of everything that happened, so you can let it out of your body. Like I said, this community has been priceless. I've been talking, and I can't even imagine how difficult it is for other Russians who cannot express themselves, and trust me, I'm seeing hundreds of them. They come and they sit there, and I see that the bubbling with anger, you know, and they simply don't have anyone to talk to, and they come to the club, to the breakfast club, and then they just like, oh, we finally found some people we can talk to, and that's what we do every morning. We talk on Sundays, and we get together outside, breakfast and things like that. So, and you have been an incredible help to me in terms of that I can talk to you every single day. And Crusader Damien, thank you so much. Never forget you wisely left a sinking ship. The Reds did not and are going to drown in their hubris. Russia brought all of this and more upon itself. You know, friend, can't argue with you. Russia has brought all of this upon itself and more. I know, and that's one of the messages throughout my streams. It's sad, and it's very tragic, both for Ukraine and for Russia. I don't forget that I left it wisely. It was a kick in the butt from God. I see it that way. Rafaela From sent me email saying, hey, Konstantin, it's been like 6 months since I wrote you, but I figured you'd like to hear this verse. And there was a verse, the answer to my question that I was asking. I was discussing it with Natasha at the time. So I never forget. Thank you so much, friend. Robert Whip, for the best. Thank you. I'm not sure that I'm the best ever. Family is definitely the best. Thank you so much, friend. Thank you for the money is welcome, but the words are priceless. Thank you so much. And KG1, would the war stop if Putin was eliminated, and how do you see things developing afterwards in the battle for control? Good question. It's like $1,000 question, you know. Let me see if I missed any other super chats real quick. Yes, I did. Vilio Oscari, thank you so much. I appreciate your support. Are you from the Baltics? Now, KG1, it's a good question. And that's a separate stream, so to speak. Look, when Putin is gone, I think that the elites would have to agree on if Russia is standing at the crossroad right now. One of the paths is the elites continue ruling. Another path is just like back in the 1991, people go out on the streets and change things, okay? I don't know which way Russia will go, but if it's the elites, then they would have to agree on one person, a puppet, okay? And that person, we probably don't even know his name right now. And he's going to be placed as the president of Russia. And they would immediately start blaming Putin for everything. And they would immediately start, they would stop this war, and they would somehow agree to the Ukrainian conditions, more or less, I don't know, but there'd be negotiations. And that'd be so much negotiations with the West. And the message will be one: please forgive us, let us back to live in the West, let us move our families and our money there, okay? We'll do anything you ask. I think that's what's going to happen, okay? But is it good for Russia? Anyway, that's a very short summary of the answer, and I will talk more about that. I'll make a stream. Carson Larrymore, I don't understand. Why announce a new mobilization when Putin never signed an end to the old one? And do you think that there are tapped out in rural areas now will need more from Moscow, etc.? There are two questions. The first answer is there will be no announcement. Mark my words. Because the system, the technical foundation for this new mobilization is that no announcement is needed. All they will have to do is to start sending out digital summons, digital paperwork, so to speak. And no one, even the public, will not know that individuals, Russian men, get this digital summons. I will know because I'm monitoring the news, and there will be splashes of information here and there, okay? But it's not going to make it to Russian TV. It's not going to, propaganda will be downplaying, and Russians go along with what propaganda says. So there will be no new mobilization, but there will be a wave. There was an active phase, now it's more or less passive phase, and there will be another active phase coming. It's coming soon, and this is what I call new mobilization. Do I think they are tapped out in the rural areas? Yes, I think so, and yes, I think they will need more from Moscow, St. Petersburg, and bigger cities, and they can do it covertly, stealthily, because they can now. They don't have to do it out in public, so they won't be angering people as much, how do you call it? There'll be point and shoot kind of things. I don't know. Just instead of covering big areas, they will be just picking one by one, and no one will know about that because people will come by themselves. Because the driver's license will be revoked, will be a big fine, bank account frozen, lien put on the properties, and so forth. I mean, you'd come to a mobilization center to take care of this anyway. Tulio Conter, thank you so much for your support. I see the Titans as modern передвижники, this time wandering the world, spreading the word of a new Russia. Amazing how today the message of Tolstoy and Repin still stands strong. Thank you so very much. Sending my love to Poland. You are not far off the truth, because what we are trying to do, and again, mark my word, it's been 1 year. That year, we were trying to catch our breath. We were trying to shake off culture shock. We were trying to recover mentally and physically from what we went through in Russia and leaving Russia and settling in the new countries. But it's over. We are ready to act. We're full of energy and more. We are full of anger. And trust me, we're going to be spreading words. And they're going to be catching fire. Fishing more? Howdy, howdy. If Russia was to become a republic, as you say, and to your liking, would you be able to move back and live there? Well, if it becomes a decent country, a democratic country, a true republic, not on paper, but in reality, and people would, run it as a republic, I don't see a reason why I would not be able to move back there and live there. But there's a big difference between being able and desiring. And I have no desire of coming back to Russia and live there. Because not even if the government is gone, if it becomes a republic, every time I would speak to people, how can I unsee what I saw? How can I unsee the Z signs on the cars? How can I unhear the propagandic songs that I heard? How can I unremember of what I saw Russian people saying? How can I do that? I simply don't want to live among them. That's all. Would I be able to? Probably would, but hey, you know what? Let's wait and see until they build a republic first. Michael Silberg again, thank you. Is there something in Russian culture that causes so many citizens to completely swallow thinly veiled lies coming from the Tsar? Yes. Yes, and I think it's slavery. The Russians never got over slavery. If they were a free man, they would act differently. If someone tries to mobilize a free man without good explanation and throw to front lines and order to kill neighbors, a free man, would act absolutely different from a slave. Daniel McInnes, thank you so very much for your support. No words, but the message is heard. I appreciate it very much from Canada. We have chili in the house. Wow. Oh, not chili. It's cold. I'm sorry. Chili, and then the live stream chat jumped. Jolie, what's happening in Moscow and hospitals? Keep on tuning in. There's commotion happening. There's many cars go in and out. There are helicopters flying in and out. To me, it's the science, but, let's wait for the news. Leslie Fleming, very sad post. Agreed. Agreed here. Do you think countries with Russian peacekeepers are going to start fighting again now, and stuff is happening with Azerbaijan and Armenia, specifically places like Moldova? I don't know. Kengar, I don't know. Azerbaijan and Armenia is a different case, unique case, because there's been a conflict between the two countries since the 90s. Even before that, there's actually the first conflict in the USSR that we were absolutely shocked. Before 1986, everyone thought that the Soviet people lived in peace, and then 1986 happens. Armenians and Azerbaijanians start cutting each other's throats, literally. There are like riots and so many people dead, killed. And it was like, wow. Stepanakert, okay, if you remember. So they have a history of conflict, let's put it this way. And then Russia stepped in. And it's, as far as I understand, again, I'm not an expert on this conflict, but from what I understand, it was protecting Armenia, it was backing Armenia up, and Russia negotiated, I thought peace, but I guess it was ceasefire between Azerbaijan and Armenia. And after Pashinyan became the president, Putin didn't like him. He doesn't like him. And I think Putin decided to teach him a lesson. And Armenia, I'll remind you, is a member of AKDB. That's a union, military union between the post-Soviet countries. Kazakhstan, Tajikistan, Armenia, Belarus, Russia. And in case a country appeals and asks to, it's a military union, saying, hey, we need your help, we're being attacked, then the countries, Russia, Kazakhstan, all must send their troops. This happened in Kazakhstan in June of 2022. January 2022. There were, I don't even know what it was, riots or different versions, okay? But Russia did send troops. And Armenia asked Russia for the troops. Russia never sent any. And basically, I think they made a deal. Putin made a deal with Erdogan and Azerbaijani president to teach Armenia a lesson, to teach Pashinyan a lesson. And this is a different case. And as of other countries, we will see soon. I simply don't know. I apologize. John Schweitz, thank you so much. I appreciate your support. And I see Jason Carney coming back with a huge bang. Jason, thank you. From me, from Natasha, we talked about you this morning. You're going to be talk of our breakfast tomorrow as well. Thank you. And thanks for huge support. And thanks for the sponsoring 5 people with sponsorships. Thank you. Jekyll N from Australia, thank you as usual. No message, but you send support and that message is heard. Very appreciated. Thank you. Crusader Damien, thank you and God bless you. Looks like I didn't miss it. anything? Okay. Let me take a couple more questions and I'll be wrapping up. Putin must be as cold as ice. Ron, I think he's changed. He's transformed. Believe it or not, but I think the same thing happened to him as you saw that movie, The Lord of the Rings. That guy who had Ring of Power, he became the ring. This power, absolute power, transformed him. My precious. That that little thing. And I think that's what absolute power does to you in reality. And Putin is a good example. I don't think he's as cold as ice. I think he's just different now. He's transformed. His feelings and emotions either disappeared or they turned into something else. I don't understand. Sam K. That's funny. Ron, I will not answer this question. Out of, I'll just not answer. Great Southern Land, you study Russian history. Is there ever been a time when Russia was peaceful? Well, I consider Russia more or less peaceful in the 90s. I discussed that yesterday. The local conflicts. I don't know if I can say it was peaceful or not, but at least it was not outward expansionist, okay? And that's it. That's it. It's pretty sad. Armenia had no one that would take their side because they were not within their borders. That's true, Craig. But Armenia had Russia at its side, within borders, without borders, for a long, long time. And Russia just stepped aside, We have a birthday. Okie dokie, and it's time to sing. Is it Janice Burgess? Hang on. Oh, no, wait a second. Happy birthday tomorrow. Okay. All confused here. Some say happy birthday, and then it's turns out it's tomorrow, Vernon, you still own property in Russia? Let me not answer that. I try not to answer personal questions that can be used against me, Dion Yurchenko, you are correct. Thank you. Are you Ukrainian or Ukrainian descent? Tulio, I'm from Chile, not Poland. Well, I'm sorry. I judged by the currency and Chilean. Okay, it's so far from Russia, and it's so great to have you here. Thank you so much. One of my things on the bucket list is to go to see the Nazca Desert. Michael Silberg, Poland is watching your streams. A major Polish news station, TVP World, yesterday had a stream titled Putin's evil empire must be destroyed. Well, Michael, it's good that Poland is watching my streams. I hope that they find something useful and, agree with at least something. I'm kind of torn here, I think that the evil empire must be destroyed. I want Russia, like I said, I want it to be a republic. I want it to shine. I want it to be peaceful, loving, a good neighbor. And I think it's possible. But I know that Russia would have to go through a very hard time, dark times. And that also hurts me because people I know are going to be affected on a personal level. It's necessary, but it doesn't make it any less painful. Let's put it this way. Okay. That's from a Russian point of view. Crusader Damien, on 1420, we are starting to see more Russians realizing what's really going on in Russia and Ukraine. Are you noticing change in attitude at all? Like I said, I think more Russians, they start looking and seeing the dissonance with what the government is telling them and with what they're seeing around them. The Putin just said, it's going to be tomorrow in the crazy news update. He came out and said, Russia has recovered from this hard economic time in the last 18 months. And now Russia is doing wonderfully. And then a person sees that, hears that, watches that on TV and starts thinking, wait a second, is it me crazy? Because I open my fridge and there's not much there. I go to a store and the prices have risen by 50%. I can afford so much less now. Or it's him. What is he saying, So I think this process starts happening. And then it's also possible that Dan and his friend from 1420, they start asking different people about the situation in Ukraine, in Russia, But in general, yes, I see that attitude is changing. But not as fast as I would like it to change. Angela, would I buy a used car from? What are you talking about? Michael, how can Russians overcome the slave mentality? And that's a good question. That's a good question, All right. Time's up. Thank you so much. Another very personal, very emotional, not easy stream for me, but I feel really good about talking about it. I want my view, my experience, my thoughts, and my emotions to be heard, and I want other people to see them. I don't want the Titans to be forgotten. Thank you. Friends, I'd like to invite you to pray along with me. And we usually always finish the streams with prayers, and then we're going to do that today too. Thank you so much for coming. Again, it's an honor to have you here. Honor to have this community. I'm absolutely positive that this is the best community on the entire YouTube. Thank you. Let's pray. Our dear Lord Jesus Christ, thank you so much for giving us this day. Thank you for giving us our lives. Thank you for putting food on our tables and giving roofs over our heads. Thank you for surrounding us with people who we love and who love us. Please give us wisdom to keep the skies above our children's heads peaceful and clear. Give us wisdom to raise them so they become good adults and make this world a better place to live. And for now, please keep our children healthy and safe. Dear Lord, please help Ukraine. Stop the bloodshed in Ukraine as soon as possible. Reach out and touch people who are capable of making this decision. Do whatever is needed to be done so they wake up and make this decision to stop the bloodshed. Please help all the Ukrainians who have been affected, answer their prayers, and make their wishes come true. Send angels so the angels keep people away from danger and harm's way. Please help my country, Russia. Send your strongest angels and with sharpest knives and swords, led by Saint Michael in shining armor as a heavenly avalanche, to come down to this earth and get rid of the demons that have hijacked my country. Please make angels run Russia, make it peaceful, loved, loving, respecting, and respected. Please send safe travels to everyone who is traveling, and please help everyone who is seeking for asylum, running away from danger. Dear Lord, thank you so much for so many people helping Ukrainians. God bless them, and help Ukrainians who are currently suffering from the attacks and, Russian missiles. Please help single mothers raising their children and struggling, making ends meet. Send help their way. Please help all the sick, the hungry, the depressed, the addicted, the homeless, the jobless, the ones who are not feeling well about themselves and about their lives, the betrayed ones, the ones who are hurting right now. Please surround them with your love and with your warmth. Fill their hearts with love, and send them angels to help, so each one of them who needs your help will receive it and will feel better about their lives, will stand up, and will stand tall and stand firm, and will have a chance to have a good, happy life. Thank you for letting us come and form this community. Thank you for allowing us to come together and pray every single day. Thank you for everyone who is praying along with me, or simply watching us pray. Please answer everyone's prayer and make everyone's wish come true. Dear Lord, I would like to ask you to help a few people. Jason Connor, who is recovering from the surgery, please send a speedy recovery. Janice Stevenson, Jay Spike, Leslie Fleming's daughter, Buzz Simon, Sam from Kiev, Wayne, who is fighting 2 cancers, Anna in Poland, who is struggling right now, Scan family's grandson and daughter, Dave and Dawn, Summer's 613 mother, please send their recovery, and Larson, her family and daughter Hannah, Liz Dumbrell and her relatives, Darla, White Lightning, George Ruberty, Dave Strains, Yorkie's mom, Hannah, Julia Haney, Vasilin Lubamirov, Gloria Roberts, Yelena, Natasha, Jake, Michael, Oля, Dasha, Sky, Bonnie, Svetlana, Michael, Paul, Dirk, Rafaela From, Angelica at Life, Randolph, Grace Philosophy, Lisa, Susie Mailer, Karen, Lori Miles' husband, Allison Dave Moyers, the highwayman, David Porter, his family and everyone who's in Chernovtsi, Susan Marshall, Alvin's sister, Terry Carter, Joe and Lee McMahon, Meta Spencer, Pamela J. Please, dear Lord, please send help and angels to help all the children who have been misplaced that are from Ukraine and hurting and struggling right now. Please help them and their families. And please help all the children who are suffering in the world, not feeling well. Please send them recovery. Thank you, dear Lord Jesus Christ. Amen. Thank you, friends. Again, thank you for coming. Thank you for giving me a chance to share my thoughts and my opinions with you. You're absolutely awesome and you rock. And I will come back with another stream tomorrow, and that's going to be the crazy news update. The stream I enjoy making. Sad but funny, and I'll try to make it so. Before I sign off today, I would like to say goodbye, and the usual, I would like to ask you to say along with me. The usual, out loud, the louder that you can, the loudest you can. Please say along. Carthago delenda est.